What if your next great unit manager was right there already on your team, ready to be developed to be another leader in your organization? The unit manager position is the most important position in your business. And if you are a growing franchisee, being able to have the leadership bench ready to go as you continue to grow is a critical element for your franchise success. And looking internally to your team to be able to develop those leaders that you already know, that are familiar with your culture and how you do your business, they are more likely to be successful than if you hire from the outside. So today, I'm going to be sharing the 7 essential steps to be able to build a capable, confident, and successful unit manager bench for your organization so that as you grow, you have the leaders ready to go. So the first essential step to be able to build a rockstar bench of leaders in your organization is to hire for leadership potential. If you are an organization that is growing and is opening units consistently throughout the year, it is important that even when you are looking for frontline team members and staff, that every other one that you do hire has leadership potential and desire. Because if you do that, not only will you be hiring great team members, but you will be able to feed the bench for your future leaders. This is going to be very, very important. And for that, you need to prioritize with attitude, the work ethic, the willingness for growth, the alignment to your culture so that you can see them not just as temporary frontline team members, but at long-term leadership potential and bench for your organization. So it all starts when you're recruiting and hiring those frontline team members. That is the first essential step to be able to have a rock star bench of managers for your organization. The second essential step is to build a training process for leadership, not just for tasks. So what this means is that, yes, you need to have a solid, consistent training process to train everyone in your organization in whatever job and responsibilities they're going to be doing every day. But as you do that, intertwine in there leadership abilities, leadership skills, leadership actions. So as you do that, not only are you getting an amazing team that respects each other and starts to leading everybody and pushing each other to be successful, but you're going to be able to start to identify who are those team members that are rising to the top. And those are the ones that are going to become your bench of rock star managers in your organization. The third step to be able to have a rock star team of bench for unit managers is going to be to develop any assistant managers, shift leaders, the second in command in the units to become unit managers. I always say that the difference between an assistant manager or a shift leader and the unit manager is simply the fact that one of them is responsible for the shift that they're running, but the managers are responsible for the business results. The knowledge, however, should be exactly the same. The only difference between one and the other is going to be the accountability and, of course, the experience because they're going to have more time if they're the unit managers doing the job. But as far as training and development, it should be exactly the same. Any person that is going to be responsible to run a shift should know everything that the unit manager knows because that's how they're going to be able to execute that shift the right way. And this is how you're going to be able to develop rock star bench for the unit managers in your organization. The fourth essential step to be able to build a rock star bench and unit managers for your franchise is to have a very robust process to track the team members' training as well as the results. This tracking will allow you to understand where the team is in terms of training. And as you see any opportunities or somebody's lagging behind or somebody's ahead, you will be able to take the proper actions. So yes, you will trust, but you need to verify that the proper training is happening and who is bubbling to the top. Because at the end of the day, those rock star managers are going to be outperforming everyone else. And you need to pay attention when that happens. So you may use training checklists, audits, performance reviews so that you are able to really see who are those superstars that are bubbling to the top. But that brings us to the fifth essential element to build a rock star team of unit managers for your franchise. And that is to create a culture of metrics. If you are measuring the information, if you have the data, you will be able to see the progress that is happening, not only, like I mentioned earlier, in the training area, but also in the results of the company. To be able to have people be rock stars, they need to know what are the expectations. And so be able to have the data and the goals and the progress will allow them to be able to see what's important and what opportunities they have so that they can be better. So creating a culture of metrics would allow you to do that. Key performance indicators should be at the forefront of the conversations, and it should not be a surprise when somebody becomes a manager of a unit. And so if they are able to be exposed to these KPIs, key performance indicators, from the moment they are team members and as they move up in their career into shift leading or assistant managers, by the time they become unit managers, they're going to be rock stars because they know what to expect and how to deliver that. And the sixth essential step to build a bench of rockstar unit managers is to foster high accountability. Meaning that as you have this culture of metrics, you are seeing who is lagging behind. Now, accountability does not necessarily mean discipline. It just means understanding who is lagging behind and have action behind that. Whether it's through coaching or training or redirecting, understand where people are, hold them accountable to that, have them understand whether they're winning or getting behind, and do something with them so that they can feel that they have the support and the knowledge to be able to change and actually produce the results that you want, and I know they want to do for you and for themselves. So when you see that there's a metric that is falling behind, you can act immediately with consequences, and the consequences would be primarily redirecting, coaching, training, and if that does not work, then of course there will be further consequences. But if they know that this is important, that they must deliver results, that will be the focus. So as this essential step talks about the stick, let's go to the seventh essential step, and that will be the carrot. And what I mean by that is that the seventh essential step to be able to build a rock star team of managers, that bench that you need so that you have people ready to take over when the next unit opens up, is to celebrate and reward high performance. So when you look at that, public recognition of the people and the team that are doing the right things, that are producing the results that they have been trained to produce and actually doing every day, is going to be a great motivator for those super performers. The rock stars want to be acknowledged for the things that they're doing. Also, people will repeat what they are getting rewarded for. So look around all the time and see what things are happening that are positive, and continue to provide positive feedback, reward, and recognition to the team, especially the leaders that you are developing for the future. And if you follow these 7 steps, you are going to be able to build a rock star bench of future unit managers, and at the same time will continue to elevate your existing unit managers, because the culture that you have created of super performance will be embedded in every level of your organization. Now, let me tell you a little bit about my experience. When I first joined the franchise industry, I was not thinking about being a super performer. I really was just looking for a job to pay my bills. I was actually a pizza delivery driver for a year and a half while I was trying to figure out. But during that time, believe it or not, my unit manager kept teaching me things that he knew. And mostly it was because I was asking a lot of questions, because as a delivery driver, when it was slow, it was pretty boring. So I figured, hey, why not find out and learn what he was doing? And as he actually generously was teaching me and training me on the things that he did, I became more and more curious. And my district manager paid attention. And early on, actually, he kept asking me if I wanted to be an assistant manager. And I always said no and no and no. For a year and a half, I say no. So this is a lesson for you. Even if you are asking someone that you can clearly see high potential, just because they say no, it doesn't mean no forever. It just means no for right now. Eventually, after a year and a half, this district manager convinced me. And really, it's because I saw what happened in the organization. I saw how people went from being team members to assistant managers to unit managers. And I saw how not only they increased the title and responsibility, but they increased their pay. So eventually I saw that this could be a career for me. And that's when I said yes. What was really interesting though is that by the time I became an assistant manager, I was already pretty well trained in many other responsibilities of the unit manager. And literally it only took 4 months for me as an assistant manager to quickly become what we called store ready. And one of the things that this particular organization did, which was very interesting, the titles was not assistant manager or shift leader. The title that they gave anyone that was in those positions was an MIT, manager in training. At the time, the organization was growing at a very rapid pace. And so they wanted to make it clear for everyone that once you were accepted into the leadership position, that you were a manager in training, meaning that your goal was to learn the skills and go through the training so that you can become manager ready. And that's what I did. And because I had learned so much while I was a business delivery driver, then it only took me 4 months to be ready to be a store manager and be promoted. That was very motivating. So imagine what can happen happen in your organization if you hire these high performers, these people that have the potential of becoming leaders? How quickly can you turn them around becoming unit managers because they already have the attitude, the behavior, the personality, the character to become leaders, and all they need is your training for them to be able to step up and become rockstar unit managers. Hopefully that was helpful to you, and you can actually look at your organization and see what are the things that you're doing. Are you following the 7 essential steps in your organization to develop these rockstar leaders for your organization? And this is especially important if you are in a growth mode. And if you're looking for outside resources or tools on how you can provide these managers, these leaders, the training that they need to be successful, I would like to invite you to explore or consider our unit management certification program. It is a very robust training program to give the unit managers and the leaders in your franchise units with the leadership and managerial skills that they need to be able to manage your business profitably. So to learn more about our manager program, all you have to do is go to afamanage.com and you will learn more about our program and also be able to register to the next information session webinar where we'll give you all of the details of the program. So with that, thank you for being with the podcast today. If you are liking what you're hearing, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can hear about more topics like this in the future. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next one.